You have seen Pranay Gunti's name before: municipal election in 2022, federal by-election in 2024, and along many of the streets and roads in Bowmanville, Curtis, and Oshawa North as he works to convince you to make him the first MP for the new riding, Bowmanville Oshawa North. Today's guest at Exit 425.
In the main corridor of exit 425.
Local politicians to connect with families.
What are some unique challenges?
Thanks very much, Steve, for having me.
Exit 425. It's where we live. Pranay, welcome back to Exit 425. Thank you for meeting me here.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks for having me here today. And it's an opportunity to connect with the residents and the electors in the constituency. So I think it's a great pleasure to have to be here today. Thank you.
What are your connections to Bowmanville Oshawa North, and how are you involved in Bowmanville Oshawa North prior to this time running for office? There is, after all, residing in the riding, and then there's living in the riding.
I moved to Bowmanville in 2019, like with my wife and two sons. Now they are 9 and 7. Since then, I have been an active member in the community and engaged with so many other activities. Like I'm very active in the community. And in 2022, as you said, like I ran as a school board trustee, which is English school board. And I hardly know few in the community, but with the platform and the pitch I have, like I was able to convince most of them. And I'm very proud like what I have secured during those elections. And in 2024, during by-election, I did see an opportunity. So I was running as a candidate in the federal by-election too, and now like in this federal elections. So beyond these elections, my community involvement includes serving on various advisory boards in the city of Clarington. I'm a member of diversity advisory committee and was a co-chair of anti-black racism task force, and I represent city of Clarington in Durham Region Transit at the regional level. And apart from that, like I did found a not-for-profit, which is basically to make the networking connections and to help the people who are in need, like which also does like some educational workshops, wellness workshops, and celebrations are part of it too. So and other community building events. So I haven't just lived in Bowenville. I have invested my time and heart into helping shape a stronger and more connected community together with my neighbors and friends.
There's an incredible amount of growth in Bowmanville Oshawa North. Could you describe the unique Bowmanville Oshawa North issues that you intend to work to resolve if you're elected? Some of the things that maybe we've talked about, or we could talk about, would be the need for nuclear and attention there, and how much attention does the MP have to give if the mayor is involved. The waterfront, Rouge National Park is protected in Pickering. Why not in Curtis? And the ever-present better cell service in Bowmanville. Just a few ideas there, but maybe you have other ideas.
Sure. Yes, Bowmanville Oshawa North is growing very rapidly. And with the growth comes a range of complex issues as well. And we need smart and community-focused solutions. To touch few things on like what you have raised, a few of them would be like infrastructure and transportation. So before I start with anything, any issues or even the concerns, or what we need to really look at, I would like to make it very clear. So what I strongly believe is there should be strong cohesion between like all levels of government to do anything. Like it's their interest to do something to the residents or the constituents, and something better than what it is right now. So I really I had so many comments on my Facebook, basically this guy is good, but probably he needs to understand the responsibilities of all levels of government. But I strongly believe that there should be they should be working hand in hand to make anything better. So before I get into details, I want to make it very clear to the people who are I know really there are some certain rules which falls under municipal, local government and provincial and federal, but definitely there is a part for every other government, a level of government, to make it better. So let's start about infrastructure and transportation, as I represent our city as well at the regional level. So definitely there is a lot of scope, and with this new housing developments springing up across the riding, we must ensure that our roads and transit systems and public transportation options grow alongside them. So we basically, like, when the city is growing, I know like there are other factors which play a crucial role, like to decide what is the level of improvement we need to do in terms of every aspect. So, but basically, I think that piece is missing. Like in calculation, like we calculate everything like before doing something, but somehow that calculation is falling apart. Like in terms of in few aspects, like let's say infrastructure development, like before even the developments are springing in, like in the writing, they should also consider the other facts, like how to improve the infrastructure, how to improve the transportation. So that's one aspect. And health and social services, like as our population increases, so must our access to essential services. Like it means like more doctors, like definitely, like what we are seeing, like we are in the worst phase. Like I didn't find a doctor for a few months, like for one of the things like what I need. And definitely like the schools, like though it falls, like as I said, like it's a collective effort from all levels of government. So if we fall short on one end, like definitely there will be more from every level of government to do something. So we need more funding for schools and childcare and youth programs, like. And also definitely, like there are other aspects like urgent care centers, like where they can also improve that facility as well by funding it. See, it's all about the interest to give more than what they are really binded to do. Like I don't believe in like the word like this is what we are the minimum we should do to meet the standards. Rather, like see if there is an opportunity and if there is room for the federal to step in and then improve the services, that would be great. And I'll fight to make sure that federal resources are directed towards supporting our growing communities well-being. So that's on health and social services. Cell towers has become a very trending topic in the city, at least in the city of Bowmanville. I moved from a carrier to find the best cell service. Though like it might not fall under city's purview, but still they did step up. But at the same time, like federal government should step up and then do the best, like whatever that they can really bring that difference. And investing in this rural broadband and the cellular infrastructure to close that gaps is the key thing from the federal end. So every resident, from farmers to entrepreneurs, like and to students, can stay connected and thrive in a digital world. Like at least we should have that. I had a very hard time, like even to get that calls during the by-election, like because I was with the other service provider, and most of the times, like the audio goes wrong, and I hardly had was able to speak. So this is something else. And lakefront production, yes, for sure. Our waterfront is our greatest natural assets, like, and we need to preserve it for future generations. I'll advocate for federally protected green and blue spaces, and similar to Rouge National Urban Park, to protect the biodiversity, enhance recreational accesses, and support ecotourism alongside Lake Ontario. So that's on lakefront protection and nuclear oversight. Like that's the last point I want to touch on. Like and energy policy. So the Darlington nuclear generating station is vital to our region's economic and future energy future. While Mayor has provided strong local leadership, but I strongly believe that federal involvement is crucial to ensure regulatory safety and long-term planning and ongoing support for the workers in the energy sector. So I'll advocate for the thoughtful federal engagement that balances the safety and sustainability and the security as well. So that's on a few points like what you've asked. Like, yeah.
And a number of those things, like nuclear particularly, and the cell service, they're both federally regulated things. But, you know, our MP is going to have some impact and influence in terms of how that's applied locally. And in terms of getting better cell service, obviously, you know, there's a local element to it, and the municipality probably has a role representing the local people, but the MP can move things along a little bit and encourage things. The waterfront, that's a complicated situation because there's municipal regulation, there's some provincial regulation because of where the, like, whether it's the water or the lake bed, and then there's some federal involvement there too. So I appreciate you touching on those three, and anything else that you see as important there. One thing about being an MP is being accessible or available to the constituents. And so would you be prepared to offer regular open house opportunities in the riding to allow people to speak with you without the formalness? And this is, the one of the few times I'll show some concern without the formalness of the current locked and frosted doors of our MP's office. Are you open to that?
Absolutely, I believe in open door governance that doesn't exist just during election campaigns, but continues every single day in office. So, if elected, I'll host regular community open houses and both in person and virtual to ensure everyone has a chance to connect and ask questions and send messages and raise their concerns directly with their MP. So, transparency, accountability, and human connection shouldn't just end once the ballots are counted. So that's what I strongly believe in. And people deserve a better representation, like who listens, follows up, and stays accessible without layers of bureaucracy or red tape. So I know like there are certain things like definitely they need to consider like, but at the same time, I don't think like it's so hard to stay connected with the community or the riding which you are representing. That is the first and foremost important thing, like, and the basic responsibility of a elected MP, right? And I also believe in being proactive rather than reactive. So basically, like all the nature of people is like to be reactive when they see something happening, and that's when, oh shit, okay, I need to change these things, and this is how probably I can make it better. But rather, like if you are proactive, like that means engaging early, identifying challenges before they escalate, and working with the community members is the most important thing to co-create solutions, like not just responding after issues boil over. Like this kind of hands-on forward-thinking leadership is what our growing writing needs, and what I'm committed to delivering. So it's one of my priority, like to be accessible to the constituents, and like listen to them and act on it.
As an independent, you're not encumbered by the party whip and the what the party wants. So it makes it more possible for you to be the voice of the people in Ottawa as opposed to the voice of the party in Bowmanville, Oshawa North. So um, how do you feel when you see that happening at other levels of government or with other MPs and MPPs, perhaps? If you see that, does it bother you that the party comes first sometimes?
See, there is always a case and chance, right? Like, though they might be having an intention to do something better than what it is, and different than how they really tackle that. Definitely, having a party line is something like they can't cross. Like as an independent, I have a complete edge over it, because I can work with any individual, like any other MP, like a group of MPs to, and who are willing to collaborate on shared priorities that matter to our riding, especially, and housing, healthcare. There are several factors like where they might not be aligned with the parties, like the decision on it, but still they need to abide by, and they can't cross that line. But as an independent, I have an edge on it, and definitely like that's what we need to look at, like as I said. So let's talk about the federal by-election, like on 2024. Like as I was saying, like in last 1 year, there could have been at least a bit like what an independent could have done, like irrespective, like there are always big parties have a chance, but definitely as an independent I have a very open door, at least like they may not be positive, may not be negative, but it's a neutral um, the kind of contact like what I could be having with the parties, right? So I could have raised the issues what matters the most to us, and could have at least made some difference in last 1 year. So I definitely like want to ask the constituents here, like to consider that independence and even other parties, like there are no just two parties like that exist, right? So we always need to look for an alternative, like there is something better than what it is for sure, but unless you really go for it, like you don't see that difference. So it's not just blue suits or red ties, we still exist, and please take the call. And it's I always say like voting is your right, please exercise it, and definitely like show up and vote whoever it is, but for definitely for sure consider other candidates on the ballot as well. It's not easy to put our name, and we work enough, like are exactly the same like any other candidate on the ballot. But all that it matters at the end is like whether they are representing a party or not from the constituent sides. But from our end, there is no shortfall. Like we try to give the best whatever everyone looks for it and strives for it. And as an independent, definitely, even I have more edge than any other candidate representing a party.
And that fits with your motto or your theme on your website that is rise above party politics and stand with Pranay Gunti for real change. So we'll give that link later on, and people can have a look at that. So that's awesome. Now we're going to move on to something that uh, for other candidates, this is more their party position, but for you, it's going to be some very clear information about where Pranay thinks about these things. So here's my direction: that without speaking of the deficiencies of other party positions or past approaches, what are the characteristics of your approach to the following things that make you the best choice for Bowmanville, Oshawa North, and Canada in 2025? So first of all, let's start with the thing that most people hate is taxation.
So one interesting comment or a thing from my end, at least from my perspective, is like all the political parties have started talking about this taxation and what they could do better on that end, like when the elections begin or there is a rate dropped. So why can't they just think if there is a room and the possibility to do it even before the elections or during the election term? So they should have given a serious thought about it, right? Because everyone is struggling at the like at least from few years right from COVID. So if there was a chance, they should have taken a look at it like during in between these elections, but not just before the elections. So that was my first comment, not just reactive, or even I probably might use proactive, reactive, and something interest. Like these are few words probably I might use again and again, because those are the key terms here, like what I really believe in. So being proactive and could have made better, like even before elections. And taxation, like they different parties have different stance on like how they could make it better in these terms. But as an independent, I will see it as an issue, one of the issues like what we have at the current moment, and whatever that so better could be better for the country. That's what really I really believe in, because completely removing a tax on incomes like wouldn't work, and completely relying on the corporate taxes wouldn't work, and completely relying on consumer tax wouldn't work. So there should be a balance of everything, and then moderation is a key, like where to stop and where to start. So definitely when we drill down into these details and the consultations happen, like definitely I'll have a say on this, and I'll definitely vote in favor of that. It's better for the citizens of the country and everyone living in the country. That's on my take on the taxation.
Okay, environment is it something that we need to find a balance on in terms of protecting, or do we do all things possible to avoid damaging the environment and therefore kind of stifle our economy? Where do you sit on that spectrum?
See, environment, like I support clean energy, like clean energy investments, and basically, like we should have a balanced approach. Like we can't take one approach, like and think that like that suits everything for everything and fits for all. So we should be changing, and we should be dynamic in nature. And what are the advantages and disadvantages of being considering a particular project, and should look at it and analyze and have everything on the paper, like that benefits or the advantages what it could cause. And other thing is like the local conservation and practical incentives for green innovation. Like that's what I look at as an member of parliament. Like I'll be raising few things like this to walk towards greener initiatives and have a balanced thing on the environment aspect.
Healthcare. Again, we talked earlier about federal versus provincial versus municipal responsibilities, and healthcare is technically a provincial responsibility, but the federal government in Canada has had a tremendous amount of influence this way because they're willing to spend money to affect how the provinces deliver healthcare. So, what's your idea? Is it privatization? Is it let the markets take care of it, or is it let's get the privatization out of there? And so again, what extreme, if any, or are you taking a balanced approach to this, and why?
This is one of the issues which I've raised during the by-election as well. So it's not just a provincial, right? Like who can make it better than what it is. So there should be again, it's a collective effort between federal and provincial, and for sure, like there is so much scope to make or improve the services what we have in the healthcare at the moment. So, and especially like the privatization, I definitely stand against it because we are well, like Canada is known for the healthcare, and unfortunately like in the recent time we are a bit struggling, but there is a lot of room and scope to get the innovative ideas to make it better, like recruiting foreign doctors and the credentials assessments. Like if you could if a government could expedite and also see how can we have more resources, like in terms of the count of the doctors, nurses, and all the medical practitioners. Like, and very recently, like the federal government gave an opportunity for um, the pharmacists, like to prescribe medication for UTIs. Like there are so many other areas, like for just for a simple cut, like I need not to see a family doctor. Probably like there are a few other aspects like this where they can really like sit with the group of experts from the field. It's not just me or them taking a call. Rather, we should have a consortium with a group of experts who could decide like these are the things what we could really move forward with, like having other people can look at it. And second thing is like, yeah, we do have so many doctors in the country right now, but with the foreign credentials, that is one thing which I raised. So there is a lot, but what's the amount of interest they have in a particular area to improve or to get the services better is what that takes the most. And definitely like as a member of parliament independent, I have a scope to talk to any government that's formed. Like we at the moment, like whether it's XYZ party or a government or whatever it is, but I do have a full that scope and leverage to reach out to them and bring out those ideas from the community or from the experts. And definitely I can take them to the table and see what they could really consider.
Military, what's your thoughts on Canada having a strong military, or just what are your thoughts on military?
I strongly believe that there is a need for the upgrade of equipment with the armed forces, like, and definitely veterans for the, like looking to do something better for the veterans, and also um, as a disaster response training, like we need to train more than what I see currently, like in existence. And definitely geopolitical alignments are changing really fast. So that is what Canada needs to consider the most. And with the change at this faster pace, like than ever, it's very important for every country to be to develop a strategic plan to deal with the on how to meet the needs of the military respective of governments. I really feel that there should be a policy to meet the requirements, like of the military in every aspect. Like so it should be an independent strategic plan irrespective of the governments uh, what's in force. So definitely like there is a lot of room for that as well, and especially with the geopolitical situations that's changing. And we have a very good experience now, like why we need to invest, and definitely we need to meet the NATO spendings as well, like and wherever we are falling short, like there is a lot of room as well.
Along with the military and many other things, if I dare say, one of the things that Mr. Trump has kind of forced us into talking about is, being more proud about Canada, more thoughtful about taking care of ourselves, and I think it's heightened the awareness that we need to, if not bolster, but certainly change our approach to military in Canada, and along with many other things. And I'm sure we'll get to some of that in one of the soon to be asked questions. But moving on here, equity. Equity is something that's talked about, and again, I hate to say this again, but Mr. Trump brought this up and kind of had made it blew the dust off this issue, whatever dust was there, and made it an issue again when he came to power. So, what are your thoughts on government involvement in equity?
So equity is the foundation of my platform. Basically, like not just as a principle, but as a commitment. So whether it's access to good jobs or quality education or affordable housing or fair justice system, like everyone should have access. And I believe every Canadian deserves the opportunity to succeed. And no matter what their background or circumstances are, that's my stand on equity.
Abortion, a little bit of a controversial topic when it's raised. Usually, um, in fact, it's been quite a few years since the Supreme Court made a judgment on it and said, okay, well, the legislative branch needs to come up with a new law about abortion. So, would you support a new law? And just where are you on abortion?
So So this is something like it's very specific to women, and every woman carries women carries her own story of strength, struggle, hope, and dreams. I support the women's right to choose and believe in protecting access to safe, productive health care. Every woman deserves the autonomy to make decisions and about her health without interferences. So I strongly believe that it's women's right to choose, and I support the creation of a federal legal framework to uphold those rights.
Very good. Pranay, I'd like to thank you for being part of this conversation. And at this point, we're going to wrap up part one of our conversation. Um, so I'd encourage everybody to keep an eye open wherever you saw this interview for part two. But I'd like you to, again, thank you for taking time out of your campaign to do this. Um, how can people get in touch with you and to learn more about you and perhaps, again, just get in touch with you?
The best way is to read, I have a website like pranaygunti.ca, and we have all the resources there, like non connecting with me or messaging me or raising concerns, and my platform, all the details. It's a one-stop shop. And thank you so much, Steve, for having me here today. And thank you.
Thank you.